what is your criticism?
Yeah.
And thank you for joining us. Please join in and give us your
Mhm.
criticism.
Well, thank you, Mr. Sperling. So I've been following this case as much as I could, and I get where us black folks are coming from. Like, wait a minute, I see this disproportionate of cases that are similar, and it doesn't add up. And I understand where you're coming from. You need to focus on this case, not other cases. But there was a case down in Texas, not that far from Carmelo Anthony's situation, where the dude poked up the other guy up in the bathroom a few times, and he got 10 years, and I think he's getting out. So
I don't know anything about that case. I only
yeah,
want to focus
e-
on Carmelo Anthony's case and the facts of this case because that's the only one that
okay,
I discussed on
yes, Mr.
Willie
Sperling,
D show. Yeah.
yes, Mr. Okay, so let's just talk. So Um, the mistake from the first get go. First, I thought the judge not having cameras in the courtroom. I thought that was a good idea. To come to think about it, now that was not a good idea because it led it up to interpretation. And some of the reports that were coming out was Carmelo wasn't running that day; he was actually helping, and he didn't have a tent. The blue tarp is what they're pointing to is what was available to him, and it was reported that he saw a friend in the tent and he came over and it was raining, so it was, yeah, everybody knows the weather was not good. So um and also he had a 2 or 3 inch knife. Well, we all know he uses that for, some people use it for tools, like, cleaning your cleats. uh when you watch his demeanor, the way he presents himself, he doesn't strike me as a kid who causes trouble. Um, I think what happened was he was provoked. How he got provoked, we don't know, because most of the people were inconsistent on the stand, as it came out to report that what they were saying on trial wasn't what they were saying in the police report. And I think the brother got railroaded because his defense attorney did not challenge the the witnesses. Like, are you a professional? Where do you come to this conclusion where it's murder? How do you come to that conclusion? So the defense attorney didn't do anything. He let that boy get railroaded, and we're seeing that. It is up to the defense attorney's job to provide the best defense for your client. Even they didn't give the Gibson Go money. That money came straight from their own pocket. So people going around saying, "Oh, they're using the money for Gibson Go, buying Cadillacs." They never got the money, and I donated. So um, this this shows you, like, man, this is a really injustice. Now there's a video supposed to be out there. Where's the video? That's all I care about. Where's the video? There's a venue that should have been changed if it was a conflict of interest. um the person speaking for the Carmelo Anthony, the ex guy, I don't know his he has a checkered past. So when you're defending your client, especially a black client, you want to make sure everything is squeaky clean on their side, and that's not what they did. I think they took the Carmelo Anthony's money. The defense attorney knew each other, which is confirmed, and he didn't want to ruffle any feathers, and he gave him a ranky dink defense. And I just think this is a tragedy. I don't think this kid was looking for a fight. I think there was a lot more going on with that tent than what people want to be honest with themselves. You don't go up and say, "Touch me, see what happens." You know what leads up to that. That means you've been going at me for a minute for me to say that. Um, and I think people are missing the mark. Also on the bleachers, people say, "Oh, you could have do the fisticuffs." You're not fisticuffing on the bleachers. That's very dangerous, especially in the weather. You can fall and break your neck. So I don't know how the knife got shoved into his chest like that. Some people report say he had him in a headlock. Some people say he had him up in like a line, like a linebacker. So I think that um they have a good grounds of appeal, and I wish them the best. And I want to know what your thoughts on it, Mrs. Sperling.
Well, let's start with the facts that we know that were
Hmm.
reported to the police officers
Hmm.
by Carmelo Anthony. How about that? Does that sound like a good place to start?
Yes, sir. I'm
That's a
familiar with
good
that
place.
area too.
And
Hmm.
so what we're going to do is we're going to actually pull up the police report because there seems to be a lot of information
Hmm.
out there about what was said, who said what to who and when. And so let's see what Carmelo Anthony actually said, because I think that's the most appropriate thing. Now, here's a police report.
Hmm.
Frisco, and can everybody see it? Okay, can you all see it? All right, date 4/2/2025, 10:01 p.m. On view arrest. Arresting officer was Cortez. You had another officer who showed up. Who we talking about? We're talking about this young man here, Carmelo Anthony.
Hmm.
That's a picture of him. Originally born
Yep.
in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He is 5'9", 130 pounds. Sex male, ethnic. It looks like that means N-word for Negro. Or actually race is black, ethnic, I don't know, I guess that's non-existent. His occupation, he's a cashier at HEB. Okay, first degree felony murder. All right, now let's see what he says. On 4/2/2025, at 10:01 p.m. Stately School Resource Officer E. Cortez heard over the radio dispatcher call out a stabbing call at David Cocodall Stadium. I won't read the address. FPD call notes indicated that an athlete was stabbed. The suspect was reported as being black male wearing a gray hoodie and blue sweatpants. I immediately left my office and ran across the Staley Middle School parking lot um, towards the southwest entrance into the stadium. As I entered the stadium, two high school age students informed me that the victim was on the north end of the stadium by the bleachers under a Memorial High School tent. I did not immediately, I did not identify these students. Next, I proceeded towards the north end of the stadium visitor side on foot. As I got closer to the north end, I could see the Memorial High School tent with multiple individuals under the tent. Does any of that sound like that's what we can all agree that that's true, right?
Hmm.
So two victims pointed out two students pointed out that there was a victim, an athlete died. Okay, an athlete was dead under the memorial tent. Once I arrived onto the north side bleachers, an adult male who was on the track pointed out the suspect. So Carmelo was identified. The individual that was pointed out to me was a black male wearing a gray hooded sweater and dark colored night pants. The suspect at this point was on the track at the end. There was a chain link fence that separated me from the suspect. I gave the suspect instructions to keep his hand in the air. This is him talking to Carmelo Anthony. During this time, the suspect said verbally out loud, I was protecting myself. That's his
Yeah,
admission.
I
Carmelo
remember
said,
that.
I was protecting myself. Okay, we get that. It should be noted that I had not questioned him about the incident when he made that comment. In other words, the police officer said, I didn't even ask him what happened. He just said, I was protecting myself. Okay, now that could be inferred as it should lead to an admission. Now let's keep listening. We'll keep reading. I asked him if he had any weapons. He said no. Well, let me go back. It should be noted that I hadn't asked him any questions about the incident when he made the comment. I asked him if he had any weapons on. He said no. I patted him down for weapons while we were walking along the fence. I did not locate any on his person. I instructed the male to continue walking along the fence, which he complied towards an area where there was an opening in the fence that led off the track. While walking him off the track, the suspect also said he put hands on me first, or he put hands on me. Okay. Let's listen to that. What didn't he not say?
Yeah, I remember he
No,
didn't.
this is a rhetorical question. What did he not say? He didn't say he got jumped by 4 people in this police report, did he?
No, he said I was
No,
protecting myself, but that.
no. He said no. He didn't say that. He didn't say he got jumped. He told him I was protecting myself. He told me
Okay.
he put his hands on me. He didn't say they put their hands on me. He said he put his hands on me. So who is he talking about? 4 people or 1 person? I'm just saying, I gotta ask you the questions, brother. Who is he talking about? 4 people or 1 person?
Well, that's that we
It's a
won't
yes or
know.
no. He's talking about 4 people or 1 people, 1 person.
Right.
I'm gonna ask you the question. See, you gotta see. Here's the thing: we got to deal with the facts as they are. This is Karmelo Anthony's statement when he states that he put his hands on me. Is he talking about 1 person or multiple people?
And Mr. Sperling, I would say to this, and I'm going to answer the question there. When you're saying which one is it? Because he's saying in the report,
Okay.
I'm as one
I'm
person.
gonna read it again. Let me read it again. Okay, because we have to be intellectually honest if we're gonna have a conversation.
Yeah,
It's not about what is, because I'm letting you hear what the jury heard.
All right.
Okay, we got to hear this is a statement made contemporaneously with the arrest. These are called excited utterances. This information came in. This is what the jury heard. Okay. All right. The suspect also said he put his hands on me. Is he talking about 1 person or multiple people?
He's talking about Austin. So
He's talking about 1 person. There's no statement as to who that person was yet. If he had said Austin, then the cop would have inferred that they knew each other. He didn't know him. So he said, let's just get there. I then detained the suspect in handcuffed behind his back, and had him sit down on the ground. Officer Ricci had arrived on the scene at the time. I conducted another pat down on his person, and then searched his person after he gave me consent. No weapons were located. While the suspect sat on the ground, I advised that I had the alleged suspect. The suspect then responds that saying, "I'm not alleged. I did it." So did Karmelo Anthony confess to killing Austin at that point? It's a yes or no question.
No, because
okay, let me read it again. Let me read it again. Then the suspect responds and says, "I'm not alleged. I did it."
Yes, the alleged could be like he didn't say I killed. I said, yeah, I'm the one.
Okay, let me read it again, brother. I conducted another pat down on his person and then searched his person after he gave me consent. No weapons were located. While the suspect sat on the ground, I advised that I had the alleged suspect. This cop is talking to another cop, right? Karmelo is not even being asked any questions. The suspect, we know now is Karmelo Anthony, then responded and says, "I'm not alleged. I did it." Is that a confession to the stabbing which led to Austin Metcalf's death?
Yes.
There we go. Next, Officer Ricci and I walked the suspect to the patrol car, which was on the north gate. As we were walking to the squad car, the suspect was emotional and said he put his hands on me. I told him not to. He never said in here that they put their hands on me. He never said that he was jumped. This young man is volunteering a lot of information without being asked. A reasonable person would probably assume, a jury listening to this would probably assume that if he was jumped by 4 people, even if the 20 witnesses who testified on behalf of the prosecution didn't say it, even if the 4 witnesses who testified on behalf of Karmelo Anthony didn't say it, certainly we would think that this young man would say out of his mouth, "They jumped me, 4 people jumped me." That's not in the police report. So what we do have is a confession that he did it without being asked. We have a confession that that, you know, he put his hands on me. So I guess that's the self-defense argument. So let's keep reading. Let's keep reading. I did not question the suspect about the incident while he was escorted to the patrol car. I searched his person again. So they've searched him 3 times. They're trying to find the weapon. I had him sit in the, let me finish reading, brother. I had him sit in the back seat area, driver's side of the patrol car while the suspect was in the back seat. I noticed fresh blood on his left middle finger. I verbally acknowledged that I saw blood out loud so that it would be captured by my body-worn camera. It should also be noted that the suspect asked me, is he going to be okay? In other words, he voiced concern about Austin. For whatever reason, he voiced concern about Austin. Maybe he was sympathetic. Maybe at that point he was concerned about how serious this matter had become. I don't know. He never testified. I then identified the suspect. He provided his name, date of birth verbally, Karmelo Anthony, black male with the date of birth, and that's crossed out. I ran through the Frisco PD dispatch. Officer Jay Hannock arrived on the scene and remained with me, and the suspect at that point, Karmelo, was then checked via eSchool database. His identity was confirmed. The identifying information he proved matched the individual I had in the custody. Next, I was, you know, and the rest of it, you can look at it online, but that's the crux of it. So, brother, here's the thing. We have a confession to a killing. Now, murder is a legal charge. The murder is a legal determination. It's not murder if it's manslaughter. You might have murder. Well, it is murder, but then there is a defense to murder called self-defense that we talked about. But we have a confession. He said he did it. And we have to start at that point. The suspect admitted to killing this other young man. That's where we start. Well, so so let's go back to some of your other questions. You were concerned about, I believe you said the something about the defense attorney. What was the defense attorney supposed to do after your client has confessed to the murder?
The defense attorney is, you know, they have a difficult job when you're confessing to things.
I want you to tell me what he was supposed to do. If you tell me what words could he have used to undo that murder? And if you can, please put your I like to get your whole face in the frame so we can be even as we talk. There we go. Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, repeat the question. You said what could the defense attorney
what words could the defense attorney have used to undo the murder that Karmelo Anthony admitted to?
Well, the part where you read in the report, it says, is he going to be okay? That doesn't tell a person that this person was planning on murdering anybody. This tells us that, in my opinion, I assume that the adrenaline was high and tensions were high. Mm-hmm. And all it took is that one time. There was no repeated poke. It was poke. And, you know, so when I defended myself. Yes, I'm the one who did it. That could be up for interpretation. Well, now we know what he meant by that. Afterwards,
right there. You admitted that he murdered him, and you mentioned some things like emotions, hot blood. I get that. Okay, so now you're describing manslaughter. You're saying he was emotional. Now, in order to have manslaughter, okay, well, in order to even have, first of all, where was the indication? He said, what did he say? Did he say he hit him? He touched me.
Yeah, like, well, in the court, they described him as a lion.
Let me get to, come on, I'll let you talk for about 5-10 minutes straight. So now we have to learn. We're going to try to learn here, because there are a lot of people out here who are watching this broadcast and they're trying to pick apart this discussion. Bottom line is, he murdered somebody. He admitted to murdering somebody. And the amount of force that he used a deadly weapon. Now, some people confuse it has to be a knife or a gun. But you know what's not a deadly weapon? A car. But you can kill somebody with it. A baseball bat. But you can kill somebody with it. So a deadly weapon is something, an object is determined deadly in the manner used.
Yeah.
And if you use whether it's a track knife, whatever kind of knife it was, the manner in which it is used determines whether or not it rises to the level of deadly weapon. So he admitted that he murdered somebody. He admitted that he did it. And we all know that it's a knife that was involved. Now, did Karmelo Anthony ever tell the police officers that Austin Metcalf hit him with a bat or broke a bottle across his head?
No, he didn't describe
Okay,
Austin.
Stop. Your answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
So is there any indication that any other weapon was used or any weapon was used against Karmelo Anthony before he utilized his knife?
In the report, no.
Okay, so there's no evidence in the report. Is there any evidence in this police report that says Karmelo Anthony was jumped? The police report I just read. No. So there's no justification to bring deadly force into what is basically a situation where you're touched.
No, I mean a touch. Like if you do this, that doesn't justify deadly force. Touch can mean as a person's trying to articulate what is a touch. When they were asked about this, he said it was almost like Austin had put him up into a.
Let me slow you down. Let me slow you down.
So
nobody asked Karmelo anything. He volunteered all this information.
I know I'm talking about during the trial when you said what does justify a touch? No, touch does not justify deadly force. We all can agree to that.
Okay, so let's stop there. If touching does not justify deadly force, that means there is no self-defense claim and the murder conviction was accurate.
No, I don't
believe no, brother. No. No. You said out of your mouth.
Mr. Spurley, yes, brother, I did say
out of your mouth.
But Mr. Spurley,
are you saying that you didn't mean to say that?
I'm saying that that's not what I'm interpreting. I'm saying when you say touch, no, if you do this, this is not deadly. This is not justified deadly force.
Okay.
When someone is trying to articulate, when it was asked in the trial, how did Anthony get touched? I'm paraphrasing. Supposedly, Austin had picked him up as a linebacker because Austin was a football player.
Hold on, brother. When I look at this police report, he didn't say he touched me by picking me up. He just said he touched me. This is what the police report says.
But yes, now, but
you're saying a witness testified because there were multiple witnesses and it was inconsistent. A lot of people testified saying different things. Some people said it was more like a linebacker touch. So let's assume it was a linebacker touch. Let's assume that. Let's assume that that's what happened. Does that rise to the level of deadly force?
It could, because you're on the bleachers. It's bad weather. You can slip. You can break your neck.
He was sitting down the whole time, according to his testimony, according to the witness's testimony. How could he then be picked up off the bench like a linebacker and he was never actually moved?
But he was moved, wasn't he? If he's sitting down, I mean, I'm not understanding.
Well, see, here's the problem. The jury heard all that. Okay. You didn't hear all that information. What you're hearing is a lot of rumor and innuendo. The jury heard the fact that number one, we have a person who is dead. We have a person who confessed to it. And the only force that was used against him was, and I know we got people waiting. People come on in. I got some more people. Come on back in. Everybody's lined up. They want to come in here. We have a confession. We have a dead body, a dead 17-year-old boy, and we have literally dozens of witnesses. You're not going to get out of that. It's not going to happen. You're going to go to prison. The only question is whether it's going to be manslaughter or murder. But you yourself said that touching does not rise to the level of deadly force, and that's why he got murdered.
No, but the touching that I'm demonstrating and what you're saying, I get where you're coming from.
Even if he picked him up like a linebacker, that does not rise to the level of deadly force.
Okay.
It just doesn't, brother. It doesn't. No reasonable people. See, this is why you put people on the jury and they determined what's reasonable. Was the force used reasonable in response to being touched? Now, I'm not saying that he pushed him like a linebacker. I don't know. I know one of the witnesses testified to that, but other one said, no, he was still sitting down the whole time. He had his hand in his backpack. The minute he touched him, he whipped it out and hit him in the chest.
But then Austin's brother in the news said that his brother had took the backpack. So which one is it?
I don't know. But what I do know is that there's a dead body and that the young man admitted to killing that boy. That's what I do know. Okay. And if you kill somebody in the great state of Texas, you're probably going to go to prison. Let me say more likely, no, you're going to go to prison. More likely than not. The question is going to be, is it going to be manslaughter? Is it going to be murder? Or is it going to be capital murder? That's the question. Well, okay, because see, there's also some other realities that we have to come into play. This is a black boy, a young black man in a white community. Okay, and you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. See, these are just grown-up conversations that we have to have. Now, hold on a minute. See, his parents decided that they want to go out there and live with them white folks, didn't they? I
understand.
They could have lived in Dallas. They could have lived in a whole lot. They wanted to live out there with them white folks. They wanted to send their kids to them white folks' school, right?
And they failed to read the room.
That's what they wanted. They wanted to live with the white folks, right? That's what they wanted, right? We have white people. Look, I know you all have white friends and white girlfriends and white relatives and white baby mamas. I get that. But that does not, and just because you have one white friend doesn't mean that all white people
love you.
Well, bottom line is when people get together, it becomes clannish. It's our team versus your team. That's how it is. And that's why we have the law. Now, I'm gonna promise you this. Most times as a black person, you're not gonna get the benefit of the doubt. So if there's any doubt, you're probably not gonna get it. That's it. Okay.
Yes, Mr.
Now, I think we did a great job here. I'm gonna let some other folk in. I appreciate your criticism. It was honest, it was straightforward. I'm gonna go ahead and bring somebody else in here. Is there anything else you want to say? But did a murder take place?
Yes, we all know.
Okay, all right. Did Karmelo Anthony admit to murdering him?
Yes, in the report.
Okay,
yes.
he admitted it, brother. No. Should somebody be responsible for murdering somebody else? It's a yes or no question.
Yes, you should be responsible for your own actions.
There we go.